Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something personal. What have you been saying to yourself lately? Because the truth is, the most powerful voice in your life isn't your parents, your partners, or even your critics. It's your own, and for far too long, many of us have been tearing ourselves down quietly in the dark. One harsh word, oneself. Doubt one comparison at a time, but I want to challenge you, just for 3 days. Talk to yourself differently, not with pity, not with shame, but with power. For 3 days when you wake up, look in the mirror and say, I am enough, I am strong, I am becoming. And not I'll never be like her, and not I'm not smart enough, and not what if I fail, no. Flip the script, say, I am proud of how far I've come. I don't need to prove anything to anyone. I am not perfect, but I am evolving. And that's beautiful. You know, growing up as an outsider, first in India, then in America, I heard a lot of noise. I was too Indian, too ambitious, too bold, but the loudest voice was never the world's, it was mine, and I had to learn. I had to train my mind like a muscle, to speak life into myself, to say, I deserve to be here, I'm not lucky, I'm worthy. So here's what happens when you commit to this for 3 days. On day 1, your old thoughts will fight back. Your doubts will whisper, who are you kidding? But you won't answer them. You'll say, I'm becoming someone who loves herself deeply. On day 2, you'll feel lighter. Like something's shifting inside you. That's not fake confidence. It's truth waking up inside you. And by day 3, you'll realize something magical. You've started believing it, not just saying it, believing it. Because when you speak with love to yourself, your energy changes, your decisions change, your relationships change, you stop shrinking, you start rising. So give yourself 3 days, just 3. You've given the world enough time to define you. Now it's your turn. Say it with me. I am enough, I am powerful, I choose me. Because once you learn to talk to yourself like that, you'll never go back to silence again. The way you speak to yourself is more powerful than any voice outside of you. What you think about yourself, how you describe your journey, and the words you repeat in your mind. These things shape your confidence, your choices, and the direction of your life. It's not what others call you that defines you. It's what you answer to, and most of us have been answering to names like not good enough, not pretty enough, too loud, too much, or even not enough. These labels don't come from the world alone. They often come from our own inner dialogue. Every day, we engage in a silent conversation with ourselves, and that conversation has the power to either build us up or break us down. We often think that self-talk doesn't matter because no one else hears it. But it matters more than anything else because we are the ones who hear it all the time. It becomes the lens through which we see the world, interpret our worth, and face our challenges. If your inner voice is constantly critical, fearful, or judgmental, you will struggle to see opportunities clearly. You will hesitate to take bold steps. You will doubt your place in the room, even when you've earned it. On the other hand, when your inner voice speaks with kindness, strength, and belief, you begin to rise. You walk into spaces with purpose. You take ownership of your life without asking for permission. You start acting like the person you are becoming, not the one you used to be. Talking to yourself with compassion and power doesn't mean lying to yourself or ignoring growth areas. It means being honest in a way that doesn't destroy you. It means saying, I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there, instead of I'll never make it. It means catching yourself when you start speaking harshly and replacing that with something that fuels your fire instead of putting it out. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to believe that you are capable, worthy, and in the process of becoming who you were always meant to be. If you want to change your life, start by changing your inner dialogue. That is where real transformation begins, because the person you listen to the most is you, and the words you say to yourself every day are building the world you will walk into tomorrow. When you choose to speak to yourself with intention and power, everything in your life begins to shift. The words you use are not just casual thoughts, they are seeds. They either grow weeds of doubt or gardens of confidence. Most people don't realize how automatic negative self-talk has become. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. No one will ever see my value. These thoughts creep in so subtly that they begin to feel like truth. But they are not truth. They are just patterns. And the good news is that patterns can be broken and rewritten. Speaking with intention means deciding what you want to believe about yourself and choosing words that align with that belief, even if you don't fully feel it yet. It's the practice of showing up for yourself with the same encouragement you would give a friend. When you say things like I am enough, I am strong, or I am becoming, you are not just repeating phrases, you are declaring a new reality for yourself. These affirmations are powerful because your mind is always listening. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is repeated. So when you repeat strength, your mind begins to align with strength. It's easy to be harsh on yourself. That's what the world teaches us to be our own biggest critic. But what if you became your biggest cheerleader instead? What if every time you caught yourself thinking, I can't, you stopped and said, I'm learning? What if instead of I'm not as good as them, you said, I bring something unique to the table? These shifts may seem small, but over time they reshape how you see yourself and, more importantly, how you show up in your life. There is power in speaking life into your journey. When you speak with confidence and love, your energy changes. People feel it, you feel it. You stop waiting for someone else to validate you because you've already claimed your worth. You stop apologizing for being too bold, too ambitious, or too different. And you start standing in your truth with pride. The way you talk to yourself is either pulling you backward or pushing you forward. When you speak with intention and power, you are choosing to push forward. You are choosing to become the version of you who knows her worth, speaks her truth, and walks with purpose. No permission needed. Your thoughts are the foundation of everything you build in life. They are the silent architects behind your actions, your emotions, and your future. The way you think about yourself influences how you carry yourself, how you treat others, and what you believe you deserve. If your thoughts are full of fear, self-doubt, and insecurity, then every decision you make will reflect those feelings. But when your thoughts are grounded in belief, in resilience, and in hope, your life begins to reflect that energy too. And it all starts with what you say to yourself. Many people underestimate the power of their inner dialogue. They think it's just background noise, something that happens automatically and can't be controlled. But your thoughts are not random. They are shaped by what you feed your mind and how you choose to respond to challenges. If you let your mind go unchecked, it will naturally gravitate toward fear, because fear is comfortable and familiar. But growth comes from training your thoughts like a muscle. Just like going to the gym, it takes consistency, discipline, and time. You don't get stronger overnight, you get stronger with every repetition. Speaking truth and love to yourself is a discipline. At first it might feel awkward, it might feel fake. You might say things like I am worthy or I am strong and not feel anything at all, but you say it anyway. Because the more you repeat it, the more your brain starts to believe it. Your self-talk becomes a new rhythm, a new habit, and eventually a new mindset. That mindset becomes the lens through which you view the world, and more importantly, how you view yourself. Once your thoughts begin to change, your posture changes, your decisions become bolder, you take risks you once feared, you enter rooms you used to avoid. Why? Because you've laid a foundation inside yourself that says, I belong here. This inner strength doesn't happen by chance. It happens when you stop letting old narratives define you and start building new ones with your words. Your thoughts are not fixed. They are tools, and you can shape them to serve you, not sabotage you. If you want to become someone who lives with confidence, purpose, and clarity, you have to build that version of yourself from the inside out. It begins in your mind. It begins with your words, and it grows with every single moment you choose to believe in who you are becoming. Transformation doesn't require a lifetime commitment. It starts with just a few intentional days. That's why giving yourself only 3 days to speak differently to yourself can become the spark that changes everything. Most people think change has to be massive and overwhelming to matter. But the truth is, small, consistent shifts often carry the greatest impact. When you decide to speak life into yourself for 3 days, you're not just doing a feel-good exercise. You're disrupting years of negative self-talk, breaking old cycles, and opening the door to a new way of living. Those first 3 days are powerful because they confront the part of you that's gotten used to self-doubt. On the first day, it may feel unnatural. You'll say, I am enough, and a voice in the back of your mind might whisper, are you really? That's normal. Your old patterns won't go down without a fight. But the moment you continue to speak positively anyway, despite the resistance, something inside you begins to shift. That's the moment change begins, not when it's easy, but when you choose a new path even when the old one tries to pull you back. By the second day, you might notice a slight change. Maybe your energy feels different. Maybe you're not as quick to criticize yourself. Maybe you stand a little taller or respond more kindly to your own mistakes. It's subtle, but it matters. That's the foundation of self-respect forming, not because you've become someone new overnight, but because you've started to treat yourself with intention, and that shift becomes momentum. By the third day, you'll realize that you've started to believe what you're saying. You begin to internalize the truth that your worth was never in question. It was just buried beneath years of mental habits and silent doubt. You begin to see how powerful your words really are. You recognize that your energy, your presence, your vision, they all grow stronger when you speak to yourself with love and conviction. 3 days may seem short, but it's enough to light the fire. Once you taste what it feels like to be on your own side, you won't want to go back to the old way of thinking. You'll crave more truth, more strength, more clarity. You'll realize that speaking life to yourself is not just a practice. It's a form of freedom. And once you experience that freedom, even for a few days, you'll never settle for silence again. Believing in your worth without apology is one of the most powerful decisions you can ever make. Too many people spend their lives waiting for someone else to validate them, waiting for approval, waiting to be chosen, waiting to be told they are enough. But when you finally realize that your worth isn't something that can be handed to you by another person, you step into a different kind of strength. You begin to walk with a quiet confidence that doesn't beg, doesn't shrink, and doesn't explain itself. That's the kind of confidence that can't be faked. It's built from within, through repeated choices to honor who you are. You don't need to be perfect to be worthy. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to compare your journey with someone else's highlight reel. The moment you stop measuring yourself against someone else's timeline is the moment you begin to see your own life clearly. You are not behind, you are not less, you are not lacking. You are unfolding, and your journey is valid even if it looks different from what others expected. There is something incredibly bold about refusing to shrink yourself to fit in. About showing up with all your ambition, your ideas, your emotions, and saying, "This is me." And not out of arrogance, but out of ownership. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to speak with authority. You are allowed to pursue what lights you up without constantly seeking permission or fearing judgment. That's not being difficult, that's being alive. When you stop apologizing for your dreams, for your strength, for your sensitivity, for your voice, you start to attract people and opportunities that match your true self. The right people won't be intimidated by your power, they'll celebrate it. And more importantly, you stop depending on others to fill you up emotionally. You become your own source. You know how to remind yourself of your value even when no one is clapping. That's real independence. True self-worth isn't loud, but it's unshakable. It doesn't need to prove itself, but it never doubts its place. When you believe in your worth without apology, you move differently. You no longer chase validation. You choose alignment. You no longer seek to impress. You seek to express, and in doing so, you don't just change how you see yourself. You change how the world responds to you, because people will always treat you how you treat yourself. And when you treat yourself like you matter, everything else starts to shift. When you begin to change the way you talk to yourself, every area of your life starts to feel the impact. It's not just about motivation or daily affirmations. It's about shifting the atmosphere around you by shifting the atmosphere within you. The words you speak to yourself set the tone for how you show up in the world. When your inner voice is full of love, belief, and strength, you carry yourself with a presence that others can feel. It's not arrogance, it's grounded confidence. You begin to attract relationships, opportunities, and energy that align with the new version of you. This internal shift affects the decisions you make. You no longer settle for less than you deserve because your inner dialogue reminds you of your value. You don't stay in places where you're not respected because your self-talk reinforces your worth. The conversations you have with yourself become a mirror, showing you what you're willing to accept and what you're no longer willing to tolerate. That kind of clarity brings freedom. You stop explaining yourself to people who don't get it. You stop waiting for signs to act. You simply move with purpose because you've already declared to yourself that you're ready. Your relationships change too. When you love and respect yourself deeply, you raise the standard for how others treat you. You teach people through your own behavior how to love you. You also give more freely because your cup is no longer empty. You're not giving from a place of need or insecurity. You're giving from overflow. And that kind of giving is powerful. It's no longer about people pleasing. It's about connection rooted in truth. Even the way you pursue your goals transforms. When your inner voice tells you that you're capable, resilient, and evolving, you take risks you once avoided. You don't wait for the perfect moment. You create it. You don't hesitate because of fear. You move forward despite it. That courage comes from within, and it's built through consistent, intentional self-talk. The biggest shift of all is that you stop shrinking. You stop hiding the parts of yourself that make others uncomfortable. You stop playing small just to be accepted, and you start rising. You start living as if you believe what you're saying to yourself. That's when everything begins to change, not because the world became easier, but because you became stronger, and it all started with how you chose to speak to yourself. Thanks.